expect.
Doesn't spoil. Come and buy some good. Whether it rains or pours, shopping here is never a chore.
Don't be coy. My wares will bring you joy.
Anything you need. Quality goods.
Sorry.
What? Are you telling me you didn't get the job done? I paid you so much up front. You could buy a cart and a pair of horses. And you tell me you...
Greetings. I'd like to... Surely you can wait a while. I have a customer here. Here you are. The finest fabric. Intricate work. You won't find the likes anywhere else in this town.
No more than I'd expect after the amount they cost. Thanks. I'll gladly recommend you if anyone asks. And you impatient fella, what was it you wanted?
You must be Franta Cooldown.
I am. And who might you be?
I'm Henry. I heard you're supposed to serve at the City Council Assembly.
I am. What's it to you?
Supposing I took the job on for you. You can put your feet up, fill your belly, and I'll do all the work for you.
Look here. It's not like I'm all that keen on it, but it's well paid. Apart from that, it's a bit of a pain in the arse. Them councillors stuffing their faces and guzzling wine, while I run around like a bugger with pitchers so they don't run dry. Why would you want to stick your nose in there?
I want to see the king in the flesh.
Why's that?
Well, I heard a lot about him. How he won lots of battles, how he's courageous, just...
And as bad-tempered as the devil. He's got the councillors shitting themselves, fearing what's coming at this assembly. The more I think about it, the happier I am about not having to be there. To begin with, you'll need confirmation that you've worked as a waiter at the council and you're capable of serving even His Majesty. Look here. Do you have any idea what's expected of you? Can you tell different wines apart and that?
Well, to tell the truth, I'm not exactly an expert.
You're off to a great start, but whatever. If you make a mess of it and the king has you whipped, you've no one to blame but yourself. Show the confirmation to the head butler. Tell him I sent you and think up some good excuse. Clear?
That makes sense.
And you'll need a waiter's livery. I had a brand new one made. Here it is. I look like a prick in it. Hopefully it'll sit better on you. The main thing is, don't lose it before the assembly or get it covered in shit.
Thanks. I won't disgrace you, I promise.
You'd better not.
Die, broadcloth! Beautiful colours! Striped fabrics! Jugs here, big and small. Jugs. Fair prices, fine wear.
So, I went to see my brother
And?
to talk about the inheritance.
But your father's still alive, isn't he? Quality fabric, great price.
Greetings, sir.
Hey, yay, good people. Now you'll learn that a cloth is wrong. Hear what Master Jan
Careful.
falsehoods and indulgences condemn all Christendom.
Servus, guter Mann. What can I do for you?
Show me your wares.
Danke und viel Glück für die Zukunft, mein Herr.
Franta Cooldown sent me. I'm to stand in for him at the council assembly.
Franta's not coming? What's wrong with him?
He got poisoned. Probably from food. He's writhing in agony. My turn's praying and cursing, spewing from both ends.
Oh, that's enough. All right. At least you're here. We can't be without a waiter here, when the king himself will need waiting on. So, let's have a look at you. Have you got Franta's certificate?
Sure. Here it is.
Everything's in order. Now, about your livery. You've got a waiter's cap, a tunic you have. Hose are good. It's a good thing you've got no steel on you. You need to be light on your feet to run around tables. Everything as it should be. Glad to see it, lad. Do you know what your duties are? For an inexperienced greenhorn like you, it'll be a great responsibility.
Well, I'll happily listen to any advice. I wouldn't want to foul things up.
I should certainly hope not. Now listen. A good waiter should stand in a corner, look willing and ready, and not get in anyone's way. In short, behave as if you're not there. But when one of the gentlemen calls for wine, you run and pour it for him on the double. You'll find the pitchers on a table by the door to the chapel. You take one and go to their table and pour for them. White Tokaib or red monastery wine.
White or red, by the door to the chapel. Got it.
But for Councillor Adam of Zarjitz, you must not pour at all. When he drinks, he disrupts and makes trouble. So the assembly has to be interrupted, or otherwise it never reaches an end. We can't allow that to happen in the presence of the king.
All right. Sir Adam of Zarjit stays dry.
And if the king himself wants wine, you pour for him with lowered eyes. Don't look at him. And the most important thing?
To stay in the background and keep quiet until someone asks me something.
Correct. The councillors have a lot to discuss, and they certainly don't need any interruptions. And in general, a good waiter has to be invisible, blind, and deaf.
Oh? I thought I had to keep my ears pricked.
Well, yes, but only to what anyone wants from you. No excuses, and provide everything that anyone wants from you. Understood?
Absolutely. I'm a waiter, after all. Not some street gossip monger.
Correct. And if you manage not to botch it up, you can even rise on the social ladder. Not just anyone can serve the King of Hungary, but you'll manage it. right?
I know everything I need to. I can do it.
Excellent. Put away your things here. It's easier to serve with a lighter load. You can wait in the cubbyhole for the servants.
The city reserves are in urgent need of new
There are the
weapons.
pictures of wine.
Unverzüglich. Our
Hopefully I
current
won't
Waffen
splash anyone's
is
shoes.
a joke. And on top of that, the army was
Hey,
requisitioning
boy,
from
a
it.
full cup of monastery
Should the
wine.
town reserve have worse weapons than any Räuber in the domain?
What are you getting at, Eldris?
I'm saying that the bandits who freed Hinnick, the Dry Devil, used that thing.
Come
That
now, waiter.
Hackenbush
I wanted red.
Excuse me.
I
hand
apologize.
cannon. Can you believe it? Where did they get them?
You're the one who should know where they got them, since you're a gunsmith.
What are you implying, Friedrich? All I'm saying
Come
is
now,
that they
waiter.
had them,
I wanted red.
Herrgott. It is eine Schande when outlaws have better weapons than the city garrison. And Herr König surely knows this too.
What is it, Eldris? You smell a deal?
You can shove that
What
down
I
picture.
smell is that your stubborn heads do not realize what Schwierigkeiten
I'm
this
sorry.
is. The Dry Devil is running free. There are Raubricker everywhere in the region. We have the army bearing down, and you want to defend yourselves with a few rusty halberds.
And who
I'd
is
like
it
some
you want to
monastery
fight?
wine.
Exactly.
Refill my cup, boy.
The merciful King Sigismund is providing us with protection, isn't he?
Der König and his army will not be here forever.
Shut up! The king can arrive at any moment.
Monastery wine.
What if he
Here.
heard you?
What then? We're sitting atop the biggest silver heap in the kingdom, and we're supposed to defend it with brooms?
You're right, Eldris. But where can we get the coin for better equipment?
We can always
Monastery wine.
confiscate the
Here.
property of the king's enemies, nicht wahr?
We are more than familiar with the jämmerlich state of our armory. And the king is surely aware of it as well. Maybe if he waived some of the taxes?
The
This
king
is
fears that
unbelievable.
this town will rise against him. He'll take the arming of the city's militia as a preparation for war.
So you suggest we just wait with arms crossed for the Raubritter to wreak havoc all around?
We can always ask the king to bring order to the realm with his army.
But then the Dörfler will rise up.
I'm afraid I see no solution of the current situation. We shall wait and see what His Majesty thinks about the matter. Maybe we can change his mind. Vielleicht?
Hey, where's my white?
Sir?
Well, thank the Lord.
I'd like to report to the honorable council
I'd like some
on
monastery
the
wine.
cleanliness of the city
Refill my cup,
and
boy.
the state of the public baths.
You mean baths or brothels?
Isn't it the same thing?
So, the cleanliness of the city
Monastery
is
wine.
not
Here.
what it should be. The current baths in the city fall far short of covering all the citizens' needs.
We've got 2 already. Adam also bought the new bathhouse on Hoprink. Betty's out of business. But the
Monastery
baths are
wine.
nice.
Here.
I hope Adam can keep them running.
Aye. But it's going to take time to turn it into a decent establishment. He'll also need some money to run them.
Then let him raise the prices. Those who can't afford
is
it should wash in the
unbelievable.
river.
It's in the interest of the whole city. The need for cleanliness and citizens' health should not be underestimated.
Nor overestimated. If
More
someone
wine,
needs
Master
wash,
Bailiff?
there's a river
I have
just a
enough
few
wine.
steps from...
I need something from you. There is an item in my study that I confiscated from a female thief. She thought she could wriggle out of it by telling me who the item belongs to.
And what is it?
A silver goblet. She sneaked into Sir Ulrich's house and stole it. No one's noticed the theft yet. But if Ulrich finds out, he'll turn the city upside down to find the culprit. Go and get it. And don't you make a mess there, understand?
Arguing about
I can't. I'm supposed to serve the lords.
You're supposed to do what you're told. But suit yourself. I'll go and get it myself after the assembly.
If you'd finally admit that it's a trifle, we wouldn't have to keep coming back to it.
A trifle? Do you ever walk the streets here? Sewage, rats, slop, and rubbish. The least we can do for the citizens is to provide them with a place to wash up.
What nonsense! Next, you'll want me to serve wine to everyone for free, too.
Why not? In Jerome Nars's earthly paradise, everything would be free.
Don't put words in my mouth.
Gentlemen, let's agree to disagree. What if the king heard us?
I got word that Rutard has pulled off another deed.
That's nothing unusual. That old weasel will never accept that the city isn't run his way.
Hey, waiter!
At least
Pour
until
me
His
some
Majesty
monastery
honors
wine.
us with his visit. And as we know, Gunslin absolutely hates him.
He can hate all he wants, as long as he does no damage. Ulrich, what have you got to say about it?
Me?
Monastery wine! Here!
I'm not sure what you're implying.
I'm speaking about the
Well,
Rutard
thank
incident.
the Lord.
You were there, weren't you?
Oh, that. Just a small misunderstanding. We've sorted it out and everything's settled.
My ears must be deceiving me. Are you defending Rutard? Besides, if his men attacked yours, as I've heard, then we have a good reason to punish him.
Tokai!
What happened
and a
there?
full cup.
Leave nothing out.
I don't like Rutard, true, but in this case it really was nothing.
Everyone in the city gossiped about it. I heard there were several dead.
Did you? That's grossly exaggerated.
Thank you,
I
waiter.
don't think Rutard will cause any trouble. He is sensible enough not to draw attention to himself while the king is here.
That's true. Because if we don't do something about him, the king himself will put an end to him, and soon.
Unless he puts an end to us first. God knows what he wants to tell us.
If nothing happened, there's no point in dwelling on it. Let's move on.
I'm sorry, Andreas, but I wouldn't brush it off so quickly.
Hey,
Why do
waiter,
I have the
pour
feeling
me
you're
some
not
Tokai.
telling us the whole truth, Ulrich?
Are you accusing me of lying?
Those are strong words, my friend. Nobody said anything like that, did they?
Then why doesn't he tell us what really happened?
I'm not keeping
Well,
anything
thank
from
the
you, but there's little truth to the rumors circulating around the town. Yes, Rutard and I had a little disagreement, but we ended it quickly because his daughter wanted to get involved. I didn't want to expose the girl to any unpleasant sights.
So Rutard is hiding behind his own daughter's skirts?
As if it wasn't enough that he sent his son to die defending the city.
All right. If you really don't have anything new to say, let's turn the page.
Things have got out of order in the town. Some adventurers decided to take the law into their own hands and restore the tradition of duels. It's not only barbaric, but also illegal. If we tolerate this, the rabble in the city will go wild and do whatever they want. I suspect the gentleman
Boy,
from the
I'd
city's
like some
sword-fighting
white.
school brought this custom to us. It's now run by the German Menhard. Who knows who that fellow is?
Don't be ridiculous, Gorsucker. You act like you've never been in a fight
around me.
yourself.
Vanish,
And to
you hear me?
accuse a swordsmaster without a shred of proof. We're not some old fishwives in the marketplace.
Hey!
So you will just leave it be?
Proven offences are punished by the bailiff.
Refill,
and that's
sir.
that.
Do you think I come to the
There
council
are
just
more
to
pressing
guzzle
matters
wine?
to deal
Come
with.
here!
More pressing than the open contempt of the whole town garrison. The guards are a...
What can I help you with, sir?
I left my gloves in the chapel. I took them off to pray, but then I rushed here and forgot to take them. I can't just get up and walk out now. But if you disappear for a little while...
My words exactly. The town council is
All right.
squabbling
I'll get them.
I knew I could count on you. While you're at it, count how many figures on the mural have wings.
But why?
Because I'm bored. And because I told you. Get on with it.
To hell with it. We'll never get anywhere like this.
I'm sorry.
Why waste
I
our
wasn't
time?
paying attention.
That was easy enough. And he wanted me to count the winged figures.
So, let's see what you've got for me.
I found your gloves, sir.
Really? Let's see them. And did you count those winged figures?
I counted 16, sir.
And did you count all the monsters and animals?
Oh, I thought you meant only the angels.
Go back to serving wine, blockhead.
There is the eternal dispute over the cathedrals. The building of the church is dragging on, and in the meantime, they are calling diocesan pilgrimages to settlers, right under our noses. It's just a village with a monastery, and they are going to make a royal mining city. Why can't we build faster?
Hey, wait!
Hire more craftsmen, start
Pour me
with
some
night
monastery wine.
Haven't you noticed there's a war going on? Are the experts from far off supposed to work in a city under siege?
Besides,
Sir?
I get the feeling there's something other than the welfare of the city behind
You,
your
lad.
complaints.
Oh, you do?
Familiar
Do
to
you?
me.
And
Have
what
we met?
would that be?
Like,
Well, naturally.
for instance,
I
that
go to
you'd
your
like
tavern
to have
almost
your
every day.
altar
Really?
there?
So what if I would?
Then you must
Hold
have
your
decent
horses,
wages
gentlemen.
to be able to visit
That
the best
space
tavern
the
in
side
town
nave is
regularly.
mine.
When hell freezes over, mein Freund. Your place is at least 2 steps behind mine.
A swordsmith dares to insult me? Ha! I think not.
Excuse me? You wanted to buy yourself an altar in the cathedral, just like you bought yourself a seat in this council.
And a full
How
cup.
dare you? I acquired my seat for the services our guild provided and still provides to the crown.
Sir?
I hope you're not supplying equipment to the army. If that's all they
Now run
have,
along.
they would be defeated by that bunch of ne'er-do-wells from the alehouse on Hopbrink.
What ne'er-do-wells?
Those wrestlers of theirs, of course. People from the whole town go to watch them brawl.
Oh, this is news to me.
Because it has all been sorted out. Not long ago,
You there,
the guards
lad,
raided and
a
threw
cup
them
of
all
red.
out.
And don't you
yes,
skip
I
them.
had forgotten. What do we have to discuss next?
Sir?
Thank you, waiter.
I'm telling you, something is being planned.
Oh, I doubt it. No one's gonna tackle Rootard.
You have nothing to fear. Not you.
Like this plan of falls!
Come now, father. Put a little life into your dying. Seen more cheerful priests at funerals.
I'd rather be at one than here. I hoped I'd never see this fortress again in my life.
Unpleasant memories?
You have no idea. I didn't part ways with my father on entirely good terms. 20 years ago.
And now you're 2 decades older and wiser. At your Ujit's parish, you spread the word of God to your flock, and you saved my neck and Henry's too. I'd say your father should be proud of you.
None of that matters a damn to him.
Who knows? Maybe that 20 years has changed a thing or two.
You know what? Let's drop the subject. Do you know any of the guests here?
Most of them I'm seeing for the first time in my life. It's a pretty varied company. We've had bandits, nobles, burghers, a priest, and even a rabbi coming together here. It's like the start of some joke.
Wait a moment. Rabbi, you say? The Gutenberg rabbi?
Yeah. He came with a retinue. But for now, they're keeping mostly to themselves. Maybe you should go and welcome some of them. After all, this used to be your home. And you're a spiritual man too, so you should have something in common.
I wouldn't be too sure. But I suppose I can try. Who's that French fellow you brought here from Malachov?
The great Baron Brabant. Been everywhere, knows everything, and has the keys to half the kingdom. He's got more fairy tales than my old nanny.
Can he be trusted?
He's a blabbermouth, but a harmless one. Besides, he defended Gutenberg, and you know how that went. If he were on Sigismund's side, he'd hardly have been locked up with me.
What do you plan to do now you're a free man again?
What do you think? Get drunk, woo one of the local wenches, and wake up in the morning with no hose and a head like a church bell.
Have you perchance forgotten we're supposed to be deciding the future of the kingdom here?
I'll leave that to the older and wiser. And duller.
Dear me. I'd rather creep off into some corner with a full wineskin. But I suppose I'll have to introduce myself to the rest of the guests, eh?
Indeed you should. After all, you are one of the lords of Rabosh.
Oh, don't start with that. I'd like to steer clear of the old man as long as I can.
In that case, you should sound out Radzig and Hanush and find out what they're actually planning.
Such rare guests. One wouldn't expect to find among Christians representatives of your community. I'm Godwin. My greetings to you.
Peace be with you. Neither would one expect a priest here. And yet...
How do you know I'm a priest?
It's not difficult to tell. After all, we have much in common. And we are both a little on unfamiliar ground here. I'm Yehuda, leader of the rabbinical court in the sacred community of Gutenberg. And this is Samuel, my aide.
Who would rather not be here at all. Why did we have to come here, Sadie? Can you not see everyone is staring at us?
Because we all need to help each other in this time of need. And why would they not stare when you are frowning so?
Are you here to arrange some trade?
We have more serious matters to attend to here than gaining a few groschen. The situation in the town and the kingdom is unsustainable. The whole land is on the brink of destruction. You have men and weapons. We have the means to sustain them.
Why are you telling this to a Koimer? You wanted to deliver what we brought to the Margrave and quickly leave.
Everything in good time, Samuel. We have just arrived, after all.
Did you come to lend money to the lords?
Not to lend, but to give. Help given to the needy is repaid only by God.
You don't even know if you can trust them. With that money, we could have paid mercenaries ourselves.
You remind me of my young friend Henry. He's a bit of a hothead too.
Henry? That messenger of Radzik Copula?
You know each other. You're both around the same age.
That would be him. But we did not get off to a very good start.
Maybe you'll get to know each other better. He should be coming here later, by the way. For a young stripling, he's been through plenty. It's not so long since his parents were killed in Skalitz. He was supposed to become a blacksmith, and instead, he's roaming the world, risking his neck at every turn.
Wait, a blacksmith, you say? From Skalitz?
Aye, that's right. Did you know anyone there?
I knew of someone. A blacksmith by the name of Martin.
My daughter knew him most, and that is why Samuel is in this world. For our numerous sins.
Maybe he was my father, but he certainly didn't act like one. Ma raised me on her own.
And that was all for the best.
Why? He should have taken care of me, but instead he fathered another bastard.
Don't make hasty judgments. As far as I know, Martin didn't have any other children. At least, none of his own. He took in Henry, and raised him as his own, on the orders of the Lord of Skalitz, Sir Radzik Copula, Henry's real father.
I don't care if he took care of 20 other mamsas.
That boy's blood father denied him, just like yours did to you.
A person can't choose their parents. And Henry only found out about it recently.
Enough. I'd rather have a drink. Will you have one too, Zayde?
For that, there will be more suitable times.
Good health.
L'chaim.
Everything all right? You look a bit out of sorts.
I can't wait for it to end so we can get out of here.
Would you tell me something about your community? I haven't found out much so far.
What can I tell you? It was never exactly glorious. And now especially, everyone is quaking that what is still left to us will be taken away.
Surely it won't be that bad.
There are many fools who would rather take out their gall on us and start to fight among themselves. In times of uncertainty, it is always the sons of Israel who are the first to be stricken.
I reckon you'd have to be pretty brave to come and mingle with the Kuttenberg lords.
Or pretty pissed off.
Or that.
We will leave as soon as we can. Anyway, all of these worthy gentlemen will be relieved when we are out of sight.
I'm glad you finally accepted my invitation. I almost lost all hope.
It's not that I didn't want to, but understand my absence.
Good health to you, sir. I'm Godwin, a friend of that lad you arrived with, Henry. We don't know each other.
Baron Vauquelin Brabant, Chevalier d'Arezzo. The last of my line. I am a warrior, a traveler, a strategist, and also, à ma manière, a poet.
My word. Isn't that exhausting?
Mais non! And I'm glad to meet a new friend.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Baron. I knew right away we'd hit it off. How did you end up imprisoned in Malashov?
Ah, c'est une histoire compliquée. It was after I heroically led the defense of Gothenburg, and only lost it narrowly by an unfortunate turn of events.
That needs some explanation. What unfortunate turn of events?
Oh, misère. It is clear you have never been to war.
You're quite mistaken, Monsieur Baron. I have.
Ah, je suis désolé. This Bohemia is a strange land. I have seen farmhands, children, and even women fighting. But the clergy? Sainte Mère, do tell me about it. No doubt you fought on the side of truth and honor.
Mein Gott, wo liegt das Problem?
My last big battle was in Kosovo.
I've heard of this battle. Many great men fell there.
Aye. And it was there I decided it was nothing for me. So I settled down in the presbytery in Ujits.
Then, what are you doing here at a meeting of opponents of the crown?
Ah, the Lord moves in mysterious ways. You say you're a poet? How about a verse or two to amuse us?
Jamais. Is poetry nothing but a fuss to you? Is a poet a gesture for amusement? I think not. To recite, I require the proper mood. And besides, few here would understand me.
Where have you been on your travels? Have you seen the ocean?
But of course! I was born by the sea. If you are interested in my greatest journeys, then I have traveled with a merchant caravan all the way to the Ottoman Empire. And if you are interested in my greatest deed, then that was perhaps saving the life of the King of France.
And you wouldn't by any chance know the Pope, personally?
Which one do you mean? I spoke briefly with Boniface IX when I was sojourning in Rome. A pleasant fellow.
How come almost nobody here knows you?
I am operating, as they say. Incognito. My great benefit is my strong connection with the French court. There, everyone knows my name. Here in Bohemia, I'm still building my reputation, slowly, but surely.
Dear friends and allies, in these troublesome times, you all know why we're here. The question remains, what to do next? Sigismund is facing troubles in Hungary, and here too, he is up against resistance. He's a capable strategist, but a poor diplomat. Mark my words. If we wait him out until winter, he will leave of his own accord.
By winter, he'll have torched all our fortresses and carried off everything that we possess.
Are we seriously gonna wait and cower in a corner? Or are we gonna drive them out in shame? A few well-planned raids and we could have him in our fists!
At what price? Have you got men to spare? Has any of you got men and money to spare?
We don't have men out there.
Yes, we do.
We do not.
Jobst is right. That whole sun won't fall easily.
Only we can't wait.
Are we to get ourselves killed?
Or end with nothing?
Friends, we'll get nowhere like this. Let's adjourn ourselves and try to think it through.
Well, that went just as expected. Good health.
And to yours. Could it have gone any other way when there's so many of us here?
I would have expected a bit more sense from Jobst of all people.
He made an amateur's mistake. But it's hard to be angry with him when he's trying to ingratiate himself with everyone. By the way, I'm John of Liechtenstein. And you must be Godwin, the son of...
That's not a thing I've ever boasted of. How do you know that?
I have my sources. From what I've heard about you, I'd judge you could be quite useful to me at today's gathering.
Is that so?
Indeed. And that's why I'd like to ask something of you.
As it happens, I've got nothing better to do anyway.
Excellent. I expect we can agree that Jobst's plan has certain shortcomings?
That's a weak word.
And the way it stands at the moment, he'll never get the support of the council. But I have an idea how to change that.
Well, I'm curious how you hope to shut Zizka up and satisfy the ones who want peace.
We'll sit and wait quietly until Sigismund withdraws of his own volition, as Jobst proposes, but we'll be waiting in the military camp of our huge new army.
If Sigismund decides to mount an attack on the camp, it'd be a massacre.
Ah, but it won't. Sigismund's army is demoralized and weakened. And besides, he's running out of resources. He's able to tackle fortresses that aren't able to defend themselves. But he won't engage in equal force on the battlefield.
But he can't retreat either. That would be a disgrace.
And that's exactly why we'll wait until he's called back to Hungary by events there. For the plan to work, we need allies, their money and their determination. We've already set the ground for it. We just need negotiators who will push the right people in the right direction.
Are you saying you set everything in motion even before Jobst?
More like in parallel, but without his knowledge. If we find support and make it look like the whole thing was his idea, we'll all win.
You've got an interesting way of approaching things.
You're certainly not the first to tell me that. I take it as a compliment.
Why are you doing all this anyway?
Because I want to put a stop to the senseless deaths. And also because I'm happier with Wenceslas on the Bohemian throne.
I'll help you. What exactly should I do?
I'll give you 3 names. Botchek of Kunstadt, Hamann Alder, and Anna of Waldstein. If you can get those 3 on our side, we've won the day. Meanwhile, I'll take care of Jobst.
What if it doesn't work?
I refuse to even consider that outcome. Because it would mean slow, but certain defeat for all of us.
Why me, of all people?
Because you've got a head on your shoulders. You know how to talk, and you're not just out for your own good. You and your friend Henry are similar in that respect. That's why I know I can count on you both. There aren't many like you two left.
Tell me a bit more about those people, so I know who I'm dealing with.
Certainly. Who do you want to start with?
Botchek of Kunststadt. I know the name, but I can't quite place him.
That's just the thing. He's got massive estates, great influence, but he holds back. He doesn't play the big game, because he doesn't like to take risks. He always goes for the sure thing. But once he's made his mind up, not even a pair of oxen will hold him back.
Alder the Alderman. Wasn't he a Kuttenberg councillor?
He still is. The only one who retained his position after the city was taken. Only he's here, instead of cozying up with Sigismund in Kuttenberg. So his days in the council are numbered. But he'll continue to have a strong influence on the guilds and the rich burghers. And that's why we need him.
Anna of Waldstein. The widow of that rich mine owner. What was his name?
Wenzel Bartosz. And I'm not surprised you forgot.
I was quite surprised to see her here. Assemblies like this are more of a...
A male affair? So far, Godwin, so far. Anna is holding back and behaving like an exemplary young widow.
But don't trust appearances. She's got claws, she knows how to do her sums, and she certainly has no love lost for Sigismund.
And what use can she be to us? Apart from her late husband's money, of course.
She's as sharp as they come when it comes to trade. And she knows a thing or two about diplomacy. There are wicked tongues that claim Bartosz acquired most of his wealth thanks to her, and that it was thanks to her that he died, too.
I'll get on it then. Wish me luck.
I wish us both luck. Before the day is over, the die will be cast.
Success to our plans. Sir, I don't believe I've had the honor.
Nor I, until now. I am Sir Conrad, Lord of Wächter. And you are the heir to the Lord of Rabosh, are you not?
Used to be. My father somewhat disowned me some time ago.
And I used to be the Royal Mint Master, until the King decided to replace me.
Are you going to support the Margrave's proposal?
I haven't quite decided yet. It's true that displeasure against the king is noticeably growing in Kuttenberg, but if our rebellion were to come face to face with Sigismund's army, I'd be risking my future, if not my life.
Do you think you might get your position as Mint Master back again?
I doubt it. Half the town hates Vavak, but no one would even think of saying a word against him. And he knows that his security stands and falls with his function, so he clings to it tooth and nail.
We've got quite a bit in common, wouldn't you say?
More than you think. If my memory doesn't deceive me, you serve as a parish priest. So I recollect, at least, from my recent discussions with Martin.
Served. That's in the past.
Even so. Before King Wenceslas appointed me his mint master, I was a priest. I was even being groomed to become a bishop.
And now look at us. We have cast off our robes and merrily hatched plots against Sigismund.
There's no point in waiting for divine intervention. On the contrary, the current state of affairs demands quite a secular approach.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.
I'll tell you, nobody has the likes of these.
Not even Bocek?
Not even Bocek, and he's a great lord.
I'd like to check your horses out, and see if they're as good as you say.
Ha, even better. But you won't believe it until you see for yourself.
And you might not believe your eyes when you do see them. Well, well, we have a new guest.
I wanted to...
You wanted to apologize for crashing into my home without it by your leave. Or to arrest my guests some more?
I want to have a word with Older.
Well, I'm having a word with you.
I'll talk to you later, Father. This is important.
You're in my home, so you'll talk to me first. What is it you want?
Is that your...
Unfortunately. Speak up then. What are you doing here?
We'll talk later and in private. Right now we have more important things to attend to.
Don't try my patience.
Why so strict, Martin?
20 years ago, he was nothing but a cheeky brat, only interested in wenches and booze. I got him a place at the Archbishopric to have some sense beaten into his head. Only it wasn't long before they kicked him out. And then, I find out he's settled in some backwater parish in Sassau. But he took his boozing and whoring along with him, lost everything, and then came creeping home again. Huh?
Try saying it again a little louder. They might not have heard you in the outer courtyard.
You have the impertinence to show me your face after the way you disgraced our whole family?
I wouldn't set foot here if I had a choice. Better to be a priest in some backwater than have a father like you.
How dare you?
You're as shit a father as I am a son. We've got nothing to blame each other for. And now let me speak to Older.
You're dishonoring your host.
I can't dishonor someone who has no honor. If you had any, you'd be...
That's enough!
Christopher.
You won't get away with those insults. I challenge you to a duel.
I'm not happy about it, but I accept. This isn't how I imagined my first meeting with my brother.
Make room for us. We'll just settle a very private matter. It's an honorable duel, man against man. Not bad for a priest.
Stand firm! Otherwise the first strike will put you on your arse!
That was sneaky. Did they teach you that in the seminary?
Look in my eyes, not at my sword!
Fucking hell!
Swing with your whole arm, not just your wrist! Lift arm lower! You don't know which end of that thing is up! What's wrong with your legs? Cover your right side! You've got a gap there I can drive a cart through!
My God. Where did you learn to wield a sword like that? Father always said you were a good-for-nothing boozer. But you could teach sword fighting in a school.
I was in a war. Right after they kicked me out of the archbishopric. And you ought to know yourself. Not all the faults that Father sees are real.
Aye. Well, I apologize for going off like that. I had to, so that...
So Father would be satisfied. I know. Only he'll never be satisfied. And the sooner you realize that, the better.
I thought he was the way he was because his first son let him down. And he hoped at least his second would become something.
Not at all. I remember him the same since I was a nipper. When I was 6 years old, I fell off a horse and broke my leg. He wouldn't talk to me for a week because I'd let him down.
The first time he took me hunting, he let me starve for 3 days until I was able to shoot my first hare.
Only 3 days. He got soft.
I always wondered who you were. There was never much talk about you at home.
Look, I really did fuck up everything I could. I brawled and boozed until they threw me out of my own parish. But now, I have a chance to put things to rights a little.
And that's why you want to talk to Alder.
Aye. The outcome of this war depends on it.
That sounds very important, considering you and Alder are both pretty small players. After your encounter with Father, it won't be easy to get to Alder. Actually, I don't think you should even attempt it. Unless you want to anger Father even more.
What else can I do, though?
I'll talk to him myself. He'll hear me out for sure. But you'll have to trust me. And tell me what it's all about.
Do I have any choice?
If it's really that important, you don't.
All right, then. You've heard Yob's plan, right? It's a nice idea, but we can't wait around without an army to back us up.
Only no one's going to pay for one, because that would be an outright admission of rebelling against Sigismund.
Alder's got some clout with the councillors and burghers who are loyal to Sigismund. If he agrees, they'll follow.
I expect Alder's not the only one you're after.
You got that right.
Leave Alder to me. The plan sounds sensible, and he's no fool.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can drag me to a tavern sometime. Pa doesn't need to know about it.
You're starting to sound like a brother.
Godwin, you wouldn't be avoiding me. We didn't have much time for conversation on the way here. Let's rectify that.
With pleasure, sir. As it happens, there's something I'd like to ask you. What are you expecting from today's gathering, my lord?
Well, I have no great expectations. But, all going well, we may be able to establish some joint steps towards the future. As long as we proceed without prior agreement and mutual support, we will be very unlikely to achieve any progress.
I couldn't help but notice your son has a bit of a talent for getting into trouble.
To put it mildly, but not to do him an injustice, knowing young Lord Capon, he undoubtedly contributed to that more than a little. Although, if they didn't pull each other out of trouble, God knows where they'd be now.
Wise words. Still, Henry's come a long way on a thorny path. I trust you're rightfully proud of him.
You know, I am. And Martin would also be glad, even though Henry chose a different path than he.
May God grant him eternal rest. Where did you leave Sir Divish? Surely he's not too old to miss out on such an event.
Haven't you heard? Lady Stephanie is with child. No one even imagined Divish would produce an heir at his age.
As they say, it doesn't matter who kneaded the dough, as long as there's a pie in the oven.
Godwin.
Well, it could be a miracle. Praise the Lord! May I have a word with you, sir?
You? Anytime. With you, at least, there's some sensible conversation, unlike this pack of conceited upstarts.
Have you got something against the Kuttenberg nobles?
Their forefathers lived up to their ears in dung. But thanks to the royal mines, they were born with silver spoons up their asses. And they think that can turn their blood blue.
But surely they're not all like that. And they are our allies.
Allies or not, someone ought to show them their place.
Young Lord Capon is finally free again. Let's hope he'll take better care of himself now.
He got a harsh lesson. But at least he might remember to lay off that tomfoolery of his for a while. But if not, war will make a man of him soon enough.
Do you think there's really going to be a war? I mean a proper one, not just sitting around and talking about it.
I sincerely hope so. Whoever sits around risks nothing. It's time to get off our asses and take action.
What do you think about Jobst?
Are you testing me? Jobst called this assembly and he wants things to turn out well. We have to trust him.
To turn out well for whose benefit, though? Some are up to their elbows in silver and blood, so others can live in freedom.
Better make sure you're among the latter, then. And in the meanwhile, help the former to keep their losses to a minimum.
Too hard.
Sir Bochek, I need to speak with you for a moment.
A man hardly puts his cup to his lips and someone comes along to put a flea in his ear. Jobst comes up with a plan as full of holes as a beggar's shoes, and now you're all jostling to win me over for him.
On the contrary, I've come here with an idea how to improve it.
Does that improvement include a few thousand men-at-arms? If not, you can go to the devil with it.
A few thousand men-at-arms as a convincing argument. And 100 horsemen on top. Only in order to get them, we need coin.
You've got my attention, but not my money yet.
How can I persuade you?
I need guarantees of security. I don't want to end up like Rutard.
Of course. Once it comes to protecting property, ideals go out the window.
You can talk, since you haven't got a pot to piss in yourself. If you were in my position, you'd think differently. I have a lot of property, lots of subjects to look after, and along with that, the Lord blessed me with a large family. I can't risk it all in a conflict with Sigismund.
So you need guarantees that you won't be left standing in the cold if you openly oppose Sigismund.
My guarantee is called Yitka. She's my niece. If I succeeded in marrying her off to another strong house, I'll have the certainty that I won't be left alone.
Maybe it's enough to find a suitable groom among the allies.
Perhaps someone of suitable standing who Yitka would also gladly accept. I don't want her to be unhappy.
I believe Liechtenstein is single.
And an uncertain party. Besides, he's inconvenient for Sigismund. Yitka could end up being a pawn to blackmail both of us.
I'd be honored to oblige. I'm in my prime.
Forget about it. Even if by some miracle you could manage to sire children, you'd die before you could raise them.
The truth doesn't offend, my lord. But I had to give it a try. How about young Lord Capon?
He's a youngster still.
What's wrong with him? He's young, he's handsome, women are fighting over him. Yitka will like him. And he'll give her a whole bunch of children.
And to half the wenches in his domain too, eh? On the other hand, the lords of Lipa have a good reputation, and Hanush can always be relied on, despite his temper. Maybe it's not such a bad idea.
So, will you support our plan?
You're selling the skin of a boar that's still grunting. First, I want a confirmation that the wedding will take place as soon as possible.
And what if Lord Capon refuses?
I don't care what the young lord thinks. Hanush is the one to decide. If he agrees, I'll be happy to support your plan.
Pushing a friend to tie the knot to save the kingdom. Things have come to a pretty pass.
The kingdom will not forget his sacrifice. Now stop dilly-dallying and go and tell Hanush.
Take a look at that.
Sir Hanush, I bring happy tidings.
You do? Let's hear it then.
Young Lord Capon is going to get married.
If he's got some impoverished noble's daughter pregnant, I'll have his hide. I'm not going to support some bastard.
You misunderstood my meaning. I was the one who arranged the betrothal. I mean, with your blessing.
You arranged a marriage for my ward? Just like that? With who?
With the niece of Sir Bushek, Lord of Kunstadt. Her name's Yitka.
Bushek of Kunstadt? The Bushek of Kunstadt? Godwin, you conniving old bastard!
Oh, fuck.
I don't believe it. So, young Hans is to marry Kunstadt's daughter?
Niece.
If you're serious, I'll make sure that you get the Rattay parish.
Or you could make me the abbot of Sassa. Or what about a bishopric?
Forget it. Soon I'll be paying for a wedding. Not a word to Hans. I want to tell him myself. But let's drink to it, shall we?
Cheers!
Cheers to you, and to your parleying skills.
Sabuchik, your niece Yivka can start preparing for her wedding.
So Hanush agreed, without reservations.
Indeed.
Then I will fulfill my end of the bargain without reservation.
Thank you, Lord of Kunstad.
Enough formality. We'll have a drink. What do you say?
Cheers to the beautiful Lady Yivka and the unhappy Lord King.
Here's to a good bargain.
All right.
I will, if he so much as looks at her. I swear I won't be able to... And he hasn't even greeted his own cousin yet. Tell me, what can...
You seem a bit out of sorts. Anything wrong?
Oh, these grand aristocratic assemblies are nothing for me. I'd be happier if they just told me in the morning how it all went and what my boys have to do next.
But then you'd miss all the grub and the booze, and the gossip.
Oh, and have you heard anything interesting here?
Let's hope young Lord Capon manages to stay free for a while longer. Ever since leaving Ratai, he's gone from one pile of trouble to another.
That's one thing you can always count on him for. I'll gladly wager with you he'll end up in some other shit by evening.
God forbid. Henry's not here now to pull him out of it.
In that case, it'll be up to you. I'm sure you wouldn't leave him to disgrace himself in front of Hanush.
A lot of people think the wealthy burghers will stick with Sigismund, whether out of fear or convenience.
Well, that's to be expected. As long as Sigismund has the city council under his thumb, no one will rock the boat.
Well, at least there's a few individuals here. Like Ruthard.
Sigismund confiscated his castle and half his estates. That'd be enough to make a man mad. Not to mention that his son was killed in the siege of the city.
Look at that. A nightingale surrounded
to wait.
How are you getting on so far?
Aside from the happy family reunion, everything is going according to plan. Thanks for asking.
I'd almost forgotten about that little detail. But fortunately, it wasn't too much of a fuss.
Father is getting old. There were times when he could keep yelling at me half the day.
Keep it up. We've still got a lot of work to do. Just don't overdo it with the wine. No one takes a walking wineskin seriously.
God be with you, noble lady. There's something I'd like to ask of you.
God be with you. What would that be?
Your diplomatic support. And your money.
No beating around the bush, eh? I like that. But what do you want my money for?
Margrave Yob's plan has some gaps, milady. We need to gather enough resources to...
To muster an army that Margrave can't afford on his own?
Christ. Be praised. You're astute.
I should say so. All sorts of people have their eyes on my money, and divining their intentions is a necessity. Although, between the two of us, it isn't hard to figure out what Liechtenstein is after.
Hit the nail on the head again, Mom. You're well informed.
I am rarely mistaken.
I'd say you have a better nose for people than most of this crowd.
Not only for people, but also for good food and wine. And beneficial deals.
Then you're in the right place. This occasion provides all of those things.
The wine here is average. The cooks lack imagination. And I have yet to hear any interesting offers. So, to the point. What is it that Liechtenstein wants from me?
Nothing more than support and resources for an army to parley more effectively with Sigismund.
Nothing more? I'd say that's plenty. And why ask me for help? Why should I, of all people, take the risk?
It's not only your money we're interested in. You're well able to negotiate and trade. And if you were to take part in our plan...
Then I'd be helpful to you on two fronts. If you want me to support you, you must give me a good reason. Perhaps a favor in return.
Do you have something in particular in mind?
Well, one of the guests here has Something that shouldn't get into the wrong hands.
Who's that?
Harmon Alder. Now, if you were to switch these papers for the ones he brought with him, I would support your proposal.
Have you fallen out with the town councillor?
No, no. Alder is innocent in the matter. My relatives from the House of Bartosz are behind it all. They're disappointed that I dared outlive my husband, and the fact that I'm handling his estates makes their hair stand on end.
And the papers I'm supposed to plant on Alder?
Just insignificant documents. If the incriminating ones disappeared without a trace, it would arouse suspicion.
All right, I'll help you. Or at least I'll give it a try.
Alder will surely have the papers in his saddlebags, which he left in the shed on the outer courtyard. Bring them to me, and put these there instead. But watch yourself. Odorin's groom has eyes everywhere.
Imagine. I suppose it was nothing.
I've got those papers from Alder for you.
Quiet! You don't have to announce it to everyone.
Lady, with all the clamor going on here, I can hardly hear my own thoughts. Here they are.
You're more capable than I expected. Thanks for the help.
You're welcome. And now you're part of the bargain.
As agreed. I will support Liechtenstein's proposal with both words and money.
Thank you, noble lady. God will...
Yes, quite. But let's drink to our bargain, Godwin.
How could I refuse a toast with such a fine lady? To your health, Lady Anna.
And to the success of our efforts.
Gentlemen, I think we can raise our goblets to the successful conclusion of the negotiations.
Is this supposed to be your secret weapon?
Like I said, miracles happen where you least expect them. Tell me, Godwin of the House of Odorin, what news do you bring us?
I bring nothing from the House of Odorin. But the widow of Waldstein and Sir Bocek of Kunstad will support our cause.
Both of them? Good heavens, what did you promise them?
This is going to be a long story, and I could use a drink. So if you'll excuse me, my lords?
It would seem that we have all benefited from the break in these proceedings. New alliances have been formed. And I have also changed my plans. We shall still wait for Sigismund to withdraw his troops of his own accord, but we will wait with an army at our backs.
Yes! And how are we to raise an army? Wasn't it made clear at the meeting that no one wants to take the risk?
The only thing made clear was that each of us alone is weak, and that we could not find common ground. But that has now changed.
King Wenceslas is, by the will of God, the balbatim of all his subjects. Not only the Christians, our community, and not only ours. We'll give you coin.
The Kuttenberg houses are still loyal to King Wenceslaus, and we stand with Lord Ruthard.
And if that's not enough, the houses of Leipa and Kunstadt will unite and march side by side.
My niece, Yitka, will take young Lord Capon as her husband.
Lords Kunstadt, Hanush, Radzig, and I will set out immediately. God willing, we will be back within 3 weeks, along with an army.
Now those are words worthy of a nobleman.
My friend, I still believe that words are more powerful than swords. And our words will ring in 1,000 voices to the glory of King Wenceslas.
After we conquered the city, you promised to restore order immediately. And then I find out things are even more disordered than before.
Your Majesty, we are sorry. We will put it to rights.
You've already said that. I want to hear real solutions.
We will put more guards on the roads and toughen penalties. We can have a few captured bandits executed as an example to others.
We do not care about bandits. We care about rebellious nobles and burghers. What will you do with them? How will you solve the chaos in the town administration, the rebellious miners, and the dismal yields? And how is it even possible that a rebellion against the king is smoldering here in the city?
What do you mean, sire?
I hear the resistance is coming from the Jewish quarter, from right under your noses. Why haven't you done anything?
We don't know who is behind this. Without evidence, we cannot punish them.
Otto von Berghoff did not ask questions in Prague either. He acted. And I advise you to do the same. Find a couple of wretches in a hole somewhere, point them to the Jewish quarter, and give them free rein to do anything. The city's Jewish community was and still is on Wenceslas' side. They need a warning.
We do not even have enough men to...
Marquardt, could you spare a few men for a while?
Of course, sire. I'll assign them to Eric. He'll take care of it.
So you see, all you have to do is make sure the city rebel get their share. You could at least manage that, couldn't you? And if the thought should cross your minds that you would get rid of the debts to the Jewish moneylanders this way, forget about it. Your debts will remain, up to the last groschen. Only now you owe us directly. And while we are on the subject of money, has the yield from the mines finally matched last year's?
Sire, the deposits are dwindling, and mining is becoming increasingly difficult. And to make matters worse, the miners started rebelling.
Don't take us for a fool. They'll stop rebelling when you pay them proper wages.
Your Majesty, we can't do that.
Silence! How dare you oppose the kingdom's protector? You're a bunch of incompetent sycophants! Chicken shits! Not any better than the scum hiding in the forest.
I apologize, sire.
I'll do everything in my power to...
All I hear from you over and over again are excuses and prevarication. And results? None. I therefore placed the City Council under the authority of Sir Marquardt von Aulitz, who is present here, with immediate effect. He will make sure you finally do your duty.
But, sire, that would be a violation of the privileges granted to us as a free mining town.
Silence! I am the only guarantor of your rights. You have to earn your privileges, not hide behind them. During my brother's reign, this idleness was perhaps tolerated. But that is over now. You were given a few simple tasks. But instead of working on them, you idled in the baths and lined your pockets. And let the traitors cast their nets undisturbed. But unlike my brother, I am capable of creating order. And I assure you, I do not distinguish between those who stand in my way. Be they beggars, noblemen, or city councillors. You have 2 weeks to restore order in the city and increase mining output. I want clear results, and you answer only to me and Sir Marquardt von Aulitz now. No one else. The council is dismissed. You, don't go anywhere, boy. Be so kind and remain here. Our throat has become rather dry. And we still wish to speak with our friend von Aulitz.
Yes, sire. As you wish, sire.
Between the two of us, Marquardt, was I not perhaps too harsh on them? And speak candidly, we have had enough of false flattery.
Sire, you are harsh, but rightfully so. These councillors, they need to be shown their place. You suffered their insolence for far too long. And the same is true of the Jews.
We know. Otto repeated to us several times that it is time to strike against them. We are glad he's not here. He would be intolerably self-satisfied if he knew we had heeded him.
Boy, can't you see the king's cup is empty?
You tend to us as if we were infirm. Boy, pour us a monastic wine. The monks had a good year. We have concerns, friend. The Hungarians are rebelling. Our army is falling apart, and we have enemies here on all sides. Would we had a proper army instead of human mercenaries? They cannot be relied upon. And we are no closer to our goal now than a few months ago. Thank you. It is a good year. If our father were still alive, he would have been astonished by the mess that a few years of Wenceslas' reign brought to us. With a single word, he would have put the nobility in their place, and the country would flourish. God grant him eternal glory.
We won't need much more time. We'll arrest the traitor Odorin, and the rest will fall in line.
You say the others will be brought into line, but what do you know of them? We know only a few of them. But there's a fortress standing on every damn hill here. What side are their lords on?
We'll find out soon enough, sire.
If only Wenceslas were not such a stubborn ass, and relinquished that throne that he has no use for anyway. The nobility, on the other hand, found a ruler like him very useful. They made a puppet out of him.
Once you restore order, they'll join you. All you have to do is promise them the privileges they lost during Wenceslas' reign.
First, they'd have to be willing to make peace at least among themselves. Jobst does everything he can to sow chaos, so that he himself emerges victorious in the end. This business makes me thirsty. Pour me some of that red, boy.
I think Jobst is just waiting for the right moment. He'll switch sides when it suits him.
Maybe. But first I'll have to conquer a few more cities. And get a couple more lords on my side. Then they take the threat of war seriously. And Hungary. If Bohemia is a wasp nest, then Hungary is a viper's lair.
You will follow in his footsteps, sire, as soon as you get the chance.
But the wine is good here. To your health, Margaret. And to your health too, boy. May your children grow in a land ruled by a good king. You did a good job, waiter. You can be proud of yourself.
To your health, your majesty.
First, we need to crack down on the biggest troublemakers.
We're working on it. While the consul was meeting, Otto von Berghoff and his men set out for Raposh. Alderin won't give you any more trouble.
He and Ruthard are in it together. Once we get Oderin, we can handle Ruthard easily. Rabosh will be yours. After all, Otto has already got Malishov.
I appreciate your confidence, sire.
But the devil knows there are a lot more strongholds to conquer here.
For the king, red wine, boy.
No. We shall have white. We have had enough of red.
White it is. Quickly! If Raposh falls, others will follow.
I think von Berghoff's little contraption will find its use again.
If need be, we could use it to raise this town hall too. And I have some suggestions for other candidates.
Not so fast, my friend. It's a wondrous tool, but we can't rely on it forever.
But to bring it here to the square and point it at the city hall? Those sycophants would only benefit from a warning like that.
It's a splendid idea, but it won't be necessary. The councillors are quite fearful enough already that they can hide nothing from us.
There's been enough fretting, sire. You shall see. Soon we will drink to the conquest of another fortress.
You are right. So then, to victory. And you, boy, will you drink with us? So that you shall have something to tell your children and grandchildren.
To victory, sire.
To today's, and those of the future.
You hear that Lord Kunstad's niece is marrying the young Lord of Perkstein.
Sure. Watcher made sure everyone knows.
And who is this young puppet? I never heard of
maiden in her pew.
Yet another
Irish
impoverished
priestess
nobleman.
point of view.
Not the first who went up like that in Sasau region.
Nearly drops his soul
Well,
to the
nice, rich
Hallelujah.
wine. Fat dowry is going to take the thorn out of his side.
Here, nobody knows.
But that is about to change. The defense of Gutenberg was just beginning.
Quite a farcical beginning.
How'd you like her wine, Chevalier?
The art of winemaking has a long tradition in La Belle France. Recipes are passed on from father to son, and each generation brings them to perfection. I myself was practically raised on wine. How many I have tasted. Even the French royal court took note of my refined taste. The king himself had wine delivered for his table according to my advice.
I expect his lordship had the best barrels rolled out. Now, if you'd only known he had a real connoisseur here.
Best barrels! Mon ami, this wine would perhaps be suited to the infirmary. where it would suffice for cleaning wood and easing pain. For that, the taste is of little consequence. Give me 100 knights in full armor.
Sword is purely ornamental.
I had wicked thoughts.
Have you lost your hearing?
Are you in need of something, my wild friend?
I'd like to drink a toast with you to our joint success. As they say, all's well that ends well. So, to brighter tomorrows.
Touching.
Come now. What's become of your poetic soul?
I never had one.
Truly? Not even a little?
Not a bit. I'm just a cynical old pragmatist.
In that case, in quite simple and pragmatic terms, the wine has run out.
Fuck. I've got a tongue like a slice of weak old bread after all that gabbing.
Well, get something wet for us then.
His lordship is so unsteady on his legs, he can't make it as far as the keg.
To hell with that keg slop. Your father surely has something better stored away. I had my eye on him all evening. He had pictures brought from somewhere for himself and his closest friends, and left the rest of us to drink cheap dregs. Try and find one of those pictures for us, eh? I'm sure you can manage that.
You can bet on it. I've got a nose for booze.
I don't doubt it. Get sniffing quick.
That may be true.
Good wine.
Finally, fuck off.
Ah, strong words. I thought your Lister was brown-haired, though.
What? I'm talking about fucking Sigismund, you twat. I love my Alicia.
All right. Sorry.
They got by without us so far.
The sooner he's gone, the sooner Reimer takes news of it anyway.
You're right. What's all Kunstad doing that? Well, you're not in France now. Don't you understand?
I couldn't resist you either.
But if you've got a different idea of what a horse is, then we'll have to discuss it.
Of course it's a horse. Not a bad one.
May I interrupt you for a moment? You already did, didn't you?
What's the matter?
One of the most esteemed guests ordered more wine. Where might I find it?
All over the place. Are you blind?
I meant the really fine one. The kind that Martin Udren would drink.
No way. Sir Martin ordered for it to be served only to him and a few of his favorites.
Have you seen the state he's in? Tomorrow, he won't even remember what was agreed here today. Anyway, he'll never miss one jug of wine if it disappears.
All right. Them pictures are on a table in the cellar. But you didn't hear it from me.
Now off you go and leave us alone.
The rat'll be good, I hope.
Now there's a piece of horseflesh for you, Rootheart. Not like that nag of yours.
What the hell do you beat it with? It looks more like a damn bull.
Sir! Sir! There's some horsemen right out front of the fortress.
Ah, that's Peter of Pisac. He wouldn't come to the council, but he is coming happily to the celebration, you old fox.
Come on in, sir. There's wine aplenty.
Hey! Hey! Intruders! Enemies at the gates!
Seize the nobles! Kill the rest!
The surrounding crystal can't make it on its own.
Take that! I'll solve that nicely.
On the... Cut one step back! Stand your ground! Show what you're made of!
Nicely!
Good! But he's still standing!
Bleeding like a stuck
Pray!
Now you're finished! Once more and we can go home!
I'll hack your ass! Bash him on the head! That's right! Ride those horses down! Bash him on the head! Die! Shit! He's nearly died! Yes, swine! One, two!
Only with this bastard! Bastard!
Jesus! The surrounding crystal can't make it on its own.
I took him down! You're mine!
Hey, that one's at it!
I took him down!
Stand your ground!
You're not up to it!
Got him! Ride those horses up!
Cut your arms off! Bleeding like a stuck pig!
Good!
Now you'll die! Yes! Smash his face in!
Right between the eyes!
All the way over here!
Quick! Stop!
He's had it!
It's a wonder you're still standing.
Sons, show yours.
Kill him!
I feel quite hungry!
Nice hit! He's had it!
Right away! I say kill you.
That's it!
What's in the
What?
Which one hit him hard?
Bleeding like a gun here, Orsons.
That was a close shave.
A little too close. Fuck me.
Do my eyes deceive me?
Henry!
Godwin.
How did you get... Damn. I can't tell you how happy I am to see you. You turned up at just the right moment.
Is everyone alright?
Well, some are, some aren't.
They captured Odorin, Kunstad and Rutard. And they took Alder and Kunrad of Vector away too.
They wanted to slay the rest like dogs.
What about my father? And Hanush?
They left with Yobs long before that. I'm sure they're all right, but not everyone was so lucky.
Where did they go? Back to Rattay?
They've got to raise an army for us. And I hope they fucking hurry.
So we have a plan to counter Sigismund?
More of a promise than a plan.
But, as you can see, our allies are getting scarce. We should lay low until Jobst gets back.
I'll gladly play dead for a while.
Be so kind. And don't speak of the dead.
What happened, Godwin? Who died?
Anna of Waldstein. She didn't stand a chance against those butchers. May she rest in peace.
She was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And they almost killed my brother.
But only almost. Good work.
What do you mean, almost? What happened?
I got there in time to help him, fortunately. Christopher tried to defend our father, but nearly lost his life doing it. Nothing.
Old grievances aside, Odorin is an ally, the same as Rutard and Botchek.
Oh, they all have their quirks. Cousin Botchek's a money-grabbing magpie. But I wouldn't give up on the fucker either.
We'll have to wait for the other side's move anyway. We don't even know where von Berghow took them.
I tried to come as soon as possible and warn you, but von Bergov's people beat me here.
You knew he was coming.
He wanted Odorin. He probably had no idea they'd find most of Sigismund's enemies here in one place.
I bet he couldn't believe his fucking luck.
And Sigismund will be moving at a gallop. We have to be really careful now. One wrong move, and he'll hang the lords.
Is there anything we can do?
Definitely not right now. We'll treat the wounded, bury the dead, get the hell out of here. Then we'll hide in the Devil's Den and wait for Jobst and his army.
If I survive the journey... Oh, God's teeth. That stupid nag nearly broke me in half.
The king announced one more thing at the council. He asked the councillors to ransack the Jewish quarter. That is, he ordered it, more like.
Fuck! Liechtenstein's got his people there. He could reveal a lot.
The city rabbi is sitting upstairs in the hall. At least he's safe here.
They're our allies. We have to help them.
What do you mean by we? Everyone here is lucky to be still breathing. I can just see them all jumping to their feet and rush to save their poor Jews.
Maybe Samuel will figure something out. He wanted to talk to you anyway.
He's here too?
Aye, escorting the rabbi. You should go and see them as soon as possible. And tell Liechtenstein too.
Anyway, we've got work to do. Godwin?
Give me a moment. I'll go and see Christopher first. Guard the walls until morning. If anyone shows up, I want to know about it.
What have they done that the Lord is punishing them like this?
God's punishment on rock.